Would you dream in like monologues, or like did it feel like riding a bike when you were starting to write the script again, being like, I know this like the back of my hand at this point?
Yeah, well, I did very much want the challenge for me, and the challenge that I talked to Kenny about, because Kenny and I worked on The Wiz together, was I said, I know what the Broadway show did to an audience every night. That audience floated out of that theater on a cloud of happiness and positive feeling and optimism. And I said, that's what I want to bring. I want to try and translate that to the home audience. I want that home audience feeling that excitement and that lift that only theater gives you. Can we do that? So that was sort of always our aim.
Yeah.
All right. Maddie, was Harvey very sort of motherly throughout this production process?
Oh my gosh, yeah, and he texts me every night, just making sure my journey is going smoothly. And actually, one of the best pieces of advice that I got was from Marissa Jarrett Winokur, who won the Tony for playing Tracy on Broadway. She told me that even though I may not want it to be this way, Harvey is always right. And she was correct about that. One night he texted me a picture of myself from that day that I didn't know he took. And it was of me in a sweater. You're nervous about what I'm going to say? And he said, is this a color blocked sweater? I said, yeah. And he said, I don't really know what you're going for. And so that weekend I went shopping, and he was right. It didn't look good.
The sweater looked beautiful, but was it right for that occasion? I'm just saying, you're going to school, and you wear what you're supposed to wear to school.
Yeah, you're always right. You're right. You're right.
Wait, I wanna double check with Martin Short. Is Harvey Fierstein always right?
Well, Harvey is the writer, and Harvey did this show. He does know. He is usually right. Not anything about what I'm doing, but certainly...
because the first thing that happened was you got me in so much trouble.
Yeah. No. Harvey has every ounce of knowledge of what this should be.
Was part of your draw to the show also just having that adrenaline of live TV and live theater and wanting to just,
there are a lot of draws to this. That's certainly one. And one is, Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman are two of my oldest friends. Mark Shaman was musical director when I did Saturday Night Live as a cast member in 1984. So I met Mark when he was 7 or something, and we're really, really close friends. So this is they have many children in the form of their art, but this is perhaps their favorite, and so that was a big lure. I've known Neil and Craig for years, and we've always tried to figure out something. And this brilliant cast, and the excitement of live, and the potential of nothing more exciting than potential failure.
By the way, I just have to say too, it's been like a master class. Watching some of these people work. I mean, Kristen Chenoweth the other day, she came in and she hasn't been with us. She's been doing a show on Broadway, and she kind of came in and the routine was set. It was blocked. It was done essentially. And she came in just to learn it. 3 hours go by. She had changed everything and like, let's try this, let's move this. And you're witnessing just like her just genius at work. And I could have gone home, but I was like, I'm staying. I'm watching this. So it was fantastic and such an honor and privilege to watch everybody. And I was saying too, with Harvey and Martin and everybody, like every time you see them, it could be 9 o'clock in the morning and they're full out. The scene, 100%. There's no marking it. There's no just kind of breezing through it. It's like full out every single time. And it's such an amazing example for all of us, and it's definitely raised our game, for sure.
And a lot of that is because of Jerry Mitchell. That is his.
Yeah, he's the choreographer.
That's his mantra. His mantra is full out. So we don't. And Kenny always says to us, we only move forward. We do not allow ourselves to move back.
We're joined by the cast of Hairspray Live, which is airing on NBC Wednesday, December 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. As you mentioned, Kristen Chenoweth is not with us, but she, Dove, has played your mother before. This is your second time rolling through with Kristen as your mom. How has it changed this time?
Wow. Well, a lot. We actually just kind of discovered the other day that we've both played the villain. Like, we've only ever played mother and daughter villains. We're sort of like, what does that say about us? But honestly, she was my biggest hero starting from 7 years old. And I'm super stoked that I can say that because that's like a really true story. She was my one and only. And I sort of modeled myself after her, just in terms of, you know, how to be a human in the world. She's one of the most angelic people you'll ever run across. And it's so authentic. This time, how is it different? I mean, we've become really good friends. I think it sort of went from me, you know, just hanging off of her every word to like she's become such a lovely, constant light in my life, you know. So I definitely lean on her more this time. You know, our working relationship and chemistry has become very easy. So I think we're taking more risks. We're finding more interesting beats. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely somebody that I never thought I would have the chance to work with ever. So to be able to do it twice, I learn from her every second that my eyes are open. So it's been one of the bigger blessings of my whole life, honestly.
We have another audience question.
Yes, I believe from Liz.
This is so exciting, everyone. Hi, Derek, I have a question for you. So you just talked about how much it's inspired you and how great it was. Do you see more Broadway in your future then?
Yeah, Broadway for me is definitely, you know, on the bucket list, on the things to do, for sure. In fact, I'll to perform on Broadway, but also to, you know, choreograph something on Broadway eventually in the future. And I was saying that earlier, how I've been watching. There's like, hey, have you been like putting your own input and choreographing some of your routines? I'm like, no. I am but a student here, and I'm, you know, I love watching, I love learning, and I've been watching Jerry Mitchell, seeing the way he handles everything and you know, choreographs and stages, and also, but most importantly, tells a story through the dancing, not just doing moves. And so for me, I've been absorbing that because for me, that's something I would love to do one day. Not just, you know, star on Broadway, but to also choreograph and create on Broadway. So it's been great. It's been amazing. So just soaking it all in.
Derek, was there anything in particular about the Corny Collins character where you thought like, oh, I could be this guy?
Yeah, because he reminds me of my dad. He really does. I look at some of these pictures here, I'm like, okay, that's my dad, that's my dad, that's my dad. He really is my inspiration. But the character is based on a real guy, you know, named Buddy Dean, which is really cool, you know, that there was a gentleman out there who, you know, was a huge advocate for integration. And unfortunately, I think that his job ended. This show ends a bit more, you know, more of a happy ending. But yeah, yeah.
Did they replace him?
I think so, yeah. I think he got the can. But my dad, yes. So when I saw Corny Collins, I'm like, oh, so I just got to be my dad. Okay, cool. You know, great. He definitely has that sort of. He was a radio talk show host back in the day, so he has that sound of his voice and so yeah, he's my inspiration.
Wow, it's amazing.
Garrett, I was curious, you know, you get to play Link, who is just the total heartthrob, and, you know, I wonder, just in that line of heartthrobs, did you think beforehand, like, I've got to step into quite a shiny suit and a very important role on the Corny Collins show? You know, how did you sort of prep?
Aside from watching the original movie, the musical movie, stealing a bootleg of the Broadway show, which I'm not condoning, but we got to do our homework, and I don't think anyone's going to be mad that I did.
I'm sure Harvey would have given you one, right?
I don't... the point is but it's been really fun, because I think I've gotten to work a lot with Kenny on not just doing the dialogue, just doing the blocking, but really talking about who is Link, you know, because I think there's something human, or a lot more human, that I view in him. And so for me, kind of growing up as this like sweater vest wearing, slicked back bifocal World of Warcraft kid, I thought, why not give that to Link and make that the reason that he relates to people so much, because he's such a showman and he really wants people to think he's, you know, this heartthrob guy. But the humanizing thing to me is finding the humility in him and finding the insecurity and seeing what drives a boy to become a man. And we even talked about his posture, from how would a crooner stand. And I thought, what's his middle? Kenny said, you should know your character's middle name. And then I thought, well, what do his parents do? I'm sure that he's a baby boomer and that his dad's from the military. So when his dad spoke to him, he probably stood a certain way, like he held his hands behind his back to stand at attention and listen to your elders. And you have to respect people a certain way. And that's why I think he gives Motormouth such respect when she says, oh, if it isn't the ever sparkling Sir Link Larkin. I'm like, oh, it's always a pleasure, Miss Motormouth, because he was taught to respect his elders. And learning to respect everyone equally, I think, was his challenge, because it's not easy to do the right thing, and that's what he learned, is that not the easiest route sometimes is the best route. So for him, it's learning that your own personal gain needs to go on the back burner sometimes, because sometimes there's a bigger message at hand. And that's why when Tracy goes to jail, he's like, you know what, it's not worth losing the people I love and the things I respect and the things I want in this life. So if that means I'm sacrificing my career for the people I love, then at least I know I was happy at the end of the day.
So wait, so what is Link's middle name?
Lawrence.
All right.
Lawrence, yeah.
Link Lawrence Larkin.
Triple L, I like that.
I like that Harvey made a weird face, but that was the little geeky nerdy thing. I thought if he has an embarrassing middle name, he wants no one to know his middle name. So it's always Link Larkin, not Link Lawrence Larkin.
And Ephraim, I'm curious, because I think you're probably the person who's most recently stepped off of Broadway and walking directly off a stage that is amazing, but it's confined versus what we're going to see during this live musical, how large and theatrical it is. Was it a little overwhelming at first, being like, oh, I have so much space to work, I don't want to not be contained?
I definitely wouldn't say it was overwhelming at all, actually. It's freeing. Like, I come from a very dance-heavy background, like concert dance, and it's like the bigger the stage, the more I have to, like, conquer and take over and use and feel the air around me. So to go from, and I love it also because it's like Broadway in the way that, there's a live audience here and there, like we, have our scenes and like there's sets here and there, but like this allows me to actually be in the world. And one thing that I feel inhibited by on the stage is that like my cutoff is right here, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's the audience. So like they have to bring in set pieces and you have to like kind of pretend and imagine and like try to make this stage look like all these different parts of the world, where right here, no, I'm actually gonna go down the street. So like, come follow me, and I'm gonna bring these kids down this alleyway where me and my other friends hang out and like dance and stuff. So it makes it even more real, even more tangible of a thing to me, and it gives me so much more space and freedom. Just like I want to run and I want to jump and I want to eat the space, and it's thrilling. I couldn't think of a better way to present what is usually a staged, theatrical event.